morning, friends. On this sacred day, I would like to just share some of my views on various topics of Indian knowledge systems from a spirituality and philosophical perspective. To start with, I wanted to focus on today on these topics. I'll be providing in a short video the agenda of what I'm going to cover in the subsequent sections. So with God's grace and Guru's blessings, I would like to start the show. Thank you. I hope you are able to see the screen. So, the topic that we are going to be covering today is basically a philosophical inquiry touching upon different schools of philosophies and how each of them try to provide a solution to the various philosophical problems. So I would like to start with a small prayer. சிவன் அவன் என் சிந்தையில் நின்று அதனால் அவன் அருளாலே அவன் தாள் வணங்கி சிந்தை மகிழ சிவபுராணம் தன்னை முந்தை வினை முழுதும் ஓய உரைப்பேன் யான். சதோமா சத்கமய தமசோமா ஜோதிர்கமய மிருத்யோர்மா அமிர்தங்கமய. ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்தி சாந்தி. So the main topics that we are going to cover today will start with the general introduction to what is philosophy, in the major classification of philosophical schools, including the Oriental or the Eastern and the Western or the Occidental schools, and then what is science and what is the philosophy of science, and what is how does it differ from our traditional philosophy, and why and how science has been segregated as separate discipline, and the pros and cons and all those things. We'll now blow up into the next level of details that I'm going to cover in each of these topics. So in general introduction of philosophy, we'll be talking about what is philosophy, what are its main branches, and when it comes to the classification of philosophy, we will be looking at the geographical classification of philosophy, as I said, the Oriental, Occidental schools, including our Indian schools. The Oriental schools includes the Indian philosophy, the Chinese philosophy, the Japanese philosophy, etc. And the Occidental school includes the Greek philosophy, the medieval Christian philosophies, the Islamic philosophies, the modern and philosophies like the continental philosophy or the analytical philosophy, and the postmodern philosophy, including the digital philosophy, the philosophy of science, etc. Ontological classification of philosophy is the next topic we'll be discussing. The epistemological classification of philosophy is following that. and also the theistic classification of philosophy. So the geographical classification, as I said, will include the Oriental and the Occidental. The Eastern philosophy will start with our good old Indian wisdom, Sanātanadharma. Within Sanātanadharma, we'll start with Hinduism. Within Hinduism, we'll focus on the Vedic philosophies, the Agamic philosophies, the two major streams of philosophies. Within Vedic philosophies, we will work with the traditional Śāstrdarśīka. We'll have a brief overview of what Śāstrdarśīka, each of these schools like the Sankhya, Yoga, Jñāna, Vaisheshika, Purva-mīmāṁsa, and Uttara-mīmāṁsa articulate as part of the philosophical doctrines. And then within Uttara-mīmāṁsa, which is Vedanta, we'll be talking about the various branches of Vedanta, including Kevaladvaita, the Shankaradvaita, Vishishtadvaita, the Ramanujas Advaita, the Tattvavada, Advaitavada of Madhvacharya. Then there are Nimbarka schools. There is their school of Bhaskara, Nimbarka, jñāna Bhikshu. So various other schools are there, and there are even schools from the Saivite worlds. So we will be touching upon each of them. There are almost 10 to 11 schools within this subdomain. So we will be deep diving into each of these. Similarly, from the Agamic side, we will be looking at the different sub-schools within the Agamic schools, specifically the Saiva schools here. So the Atimarga, the Laukika Marga, the Mantra Marga, the Vaidika Marga, the Adhyatmika Marga, and the Kula Marga. And within the Mantra Marga, which is the more popular and widely practiced stream within Shaivism today. So we will be looking at the different philosophical schools, including the Shuddhadvaita Saiva Siddhantam, and the Paradvaita Saiva Siddhantam, or which is called as the Kashmir Shaivism. And there is a Visheshadvaita Saiva Siddhantam, and Veera Saivam, etc. So these are the various philosophical schools from the Shaiva world. So we will be touching upon them. Moving on, we'll be discussing the philosophy of science. So we'll see what is science, what are the major turning points of from the traditional philosophy, metaphysics to science, and some 200 to 300 years back, and how it is. There's again a major turning point back towards some of these philosophical, metaphysical streams which were predominantly ignored in the last 200 years, particularly related to metaphysics and study of consciousness, etc. So then we'll be seeing the various methods of science, formal science, and the different principles of science. And one of the main topic which I wanted to touch upon is science, and especially physics is now basically highly mathematized. What is the historical background behind it, and what how it is helping in our scientific pursuits, and of course what are the challenges with that and all those things. So I would like to take a small break now. So this is the discussion that we are planning to have in the subsequent sections. As I said, each of them we will deep dive to whatever capacities and whatever time limits possible. So once again, thanking you. I request you to watch these videos, share your feedback, and it is going to be a mutual exercise of co-learning. So I complete this session by saying Sahana Vavatu Sahana Unatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadidamastu ma Vidushavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.